AND gate, and that means you execute the children in the order indicated. So meaning here you wait for you to be activated. Once you are activated, you activate your first child. Then you wait for your first child, for the success of your first child. So if your first child tells you, hey, I have been successfully attacked, then you activate your second child. You wait for its success, and then you report back your success. And you do something with failures also. Let's skip that in view of time. Now, this is the basic attack step, and here's where all the costs are incurred. So, you have several quantitative attributes, I, and they can, as I said, be skill, effort, cost, difficulty. And those attributes have two components. One is a fixed component, and the other is a time-dependent component. So the fixed is called F, and the time-dependent is called V. And it works as follows. Once you're activated, you move to this state, and then if you want to take this transition, what you do is you just incur your fixed cost. So once you start executing your attack, you increase your cost with f of I, and for each quantitative variable I. So you have a whole vector of quantitative attributes. Now here, in this state, you're busy, you're executing your attack, and now you incur cost according to its time-dependent component, V of I. So meaning that you increase your costs with a number that is proportional to V of I. And so the derivative of your cost gets increased by this. And yes, for some variables you may decide to add some extra cost here, but in principle, once you have propagated your success, you're done. And here, time is kind of special, because time in time automata is different from the other variables, because time progresses by itself, whether you want or not, and also all the other variables are time dependent. So here, you have a guard saying that you can only execute this step once your time is at least the minimal time required for that step. So and now, yeah, as I said, what you do is you have your model, your attack tree model. Here you translate everything into those typed automata, feed it into Opal. Opal is going to give you a cost optimal trace, and then you can manually draw those pictures. The tool chain we have developed here is in progress. We haven't automated yet all steps, and the reason is that okay, building, let's say opening your computer and type in an ad hoc Python script is very easy, but we wanted to do this very systematic, and that's why we wanted to use model transformations with this. So we have made a model a meta model for attack trees. We've built a meta model for timed automata and used model transformations to translate this back and forth, because it is much more systematic. And also, if someone decides to update attack trees with some novel modeling construct, this whole approach is much more maintainable than when you start hacking in Python or whatever language you like. What we've also worked on is simplifying those attack trees by themselves, also via graph transformation. So you can imagine if you have two AND gates, one on top of the other, you can flatten those AND gates into one AND gate, and that makes your model simpler. Yeah, here there are some case studies that we did basically from the literature. Yeah, one is where we obtained pass administrator privileges. One is yeah, a successful attack on passwords, and well, we just took the models from the literature, took their values whenever they were available from the literature, and added additional quantitative variables, and then Okay, yeah, we computed these tables over here. Yes. And where you see, depending on the attacker profile, what is the time to attack in days, what is the costs for the attacker, and what is the cost to the company. Yeah, and we computed similar pictures as before.
So that's a good question. So, is there any way of, these are input manually, is that right? That you kind of just taking a case study and put it into your model? And
Yeah.
so is there any way of making it so, I don't know, using some kind of inference system to put it in automatically? So new Windows vulnerability comes out, for example, and then your system knows you've got Windows, and then you can update it in some way that
Okay,
make
yes.
it less, more of a maintainable system.
Okay, well, so one thing, so indeed it's manual, so we have connected our tool to the AD tool chain from Luxembourg that has a nice GUI, so you can draw attack trees via a nice GUI. But then your question saying about dynamics, so that is also very, very important. But we haven't done it yet. So, and it's important for two reasons. One is the one you say, that if a new version of Windows come out, you want to automatically update your attack tree and redo the analysis. But also if you know that something has happened, you want to restart your attack tree analysis given that some attack has already been done. So suppose mark here.
I might have.
Well, suppose you have an AND with three inputs, and you know that one of the inputs has happened, then you end up with an AND gate with only 2 inputs, which makes an attack way more likely, and you want really, yeah. So if you know that this has already happened, well, then you want to cross it out and consider the attack tree with only 2 inputs and redo the analysis. But I mean, this kind of dynamics is really important, but well, we haven't done it yet. But it's
you
high
can hook it
order.
up to, there must be bulletins on XML stuff, data on vulnerabilities, and maybe you could hook it up to the IDS or something like that. Or
Yeah.
There's lots of ways in which you could connect it, I imagine.
No, definitely. I mean, that's definitely, a very important thing to do. Yes, so those are the conclusions. In my opinion, UPAL provides a nice and elegant solution to attack path generation. And it's very versatile, it contains many optimization questions, it's flexible and extensible and easy to use. We haven't really exploited the specific structure of UPAL models that are generated by attack trees. I mean, in general they are cyclic, and often you only need the boundary values, and you can exploit these boundaries in order to make the analysis faster. Yeah, I mean, the tool chain is important. I mean, we're working on a cloud-based large case to that. And yeah, basically, this concludes my talk.
Thank you very much. Any more questions?
Is that approach have been tried? This approach been tried to do for example, I don't know if it's not a DDoS attack on the website, for example, denial of service attack?
Yeah, I'm thinking no, it didn't. I mean, there's so many case studies, and this is of course an important one. Yes.
So the UPAL, it has fast timed automata or other things as well, or is it just, that's the basic understanding?
UPAL is a very flexible tool chain. It has a fantastic GUI, and it's developed in Aalborg and Uppsala, in Denmark. And let's say its basic model is timed automata.
Okay.
So label transition systems with real-valued clocks. That's the base. But then they have come up with all kinds of extensions prices are one. Probabilities are also one. I mean, apart from this work, I have done quite some extensive work on probabilistic analysis of attacks, and also of failures. Games, stochastic games, where you have, I mean, you can imagine that it's very natural to model an attacker and a defender as two agents in the game.
Yeah, I mean, even the OR gate and AND gate could be sort of games, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite active.
And sort of you're looking at sort of theoretically this is reachability analysis or
Yeah.
and it's decidable or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, for time automata, yes. And the reason why it's decidable is because you cannot do too many weird things with clocks.
Okay.
What you can do with clocks is you can compare them. Can I write here?
Yes, sure.
You can compare them to constant, and you can compare two clocks to constant, and so this can be either smaller. This can be integers, and this can be only one or two clocks. And of course, people have been looking at what happens if you are more flexible, but then suddenly it's not decidable anymore. And this is, I mean, it's theoretical complexity is quite high. It's, I think, p-space complete or so, but in practice it works quite well because, of course, it uses all kind of intelligent search algorithms with branch and bound and A star and etc.
So I just have some sweets here, which I mean.
I'll have to play my rival suite later on.
It might not stay. Okay.
Right.
So then, all right, fine. We'll try and keep one for you. Right?
So there's a problem where I'm in a security man in an organization and I'm looking at the threats and I'm doing a static analysis of wherever things might go. But there's another problem of I'm the same guy, but I've got a guy who's working on this and he's constantly monitoring the system that's probably constantly under attack.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any sort of dynamic measurement of these things that go along? It looks like this person's checking this out and stuff.
Okay, so that relates a bit to your question before, the dynamics. So
Mine's a faster dynamic.
yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Let's say, what you can also do is, apart from doing fixed time, you can do probabilities. So, over time. And then, but if you know that this attack has happened, well, it's actually probability 1. And then you can re-evaluate your whole tree and then see what is your, And that's, people realize it's important.
But you don't sort of have someone who's monitoring a particular, important website, so the DoD's website or something like that, and they're sort of sitting there looking, oh look, people are starting to attack it, so we'll change things this way, and using these techniques.
We haven't done it, but as I said, it's on top of everybody's wish list. But
And does the DoD, or I'm just picking the DoD as a particularly important website. I don't know. Do you think they actually have sort of someone sitting there monitoring that system constantly to see? Because if you watch television shows, like, oh look, we're being hacked, and they put on their magic gloves, and it's. Is that just science fiction or?
I don't know, but I know that the DoD is interested in these attack tree models, especially because they're more powerful in modeling the dependencies between attacks. I mean the DoD has some of my colleagues went to DoD workshops.
Yeah. What is DoD, sorry? Department of Defense, American Department of Defense. I was just picking out as a particularly nasty group of guys. You could, the Chinese government, that's another, or the Chinese government hackers might also want to use this because they could use the reverse. They could use it to figure out weaknesses, right? So, it's interesting.
Yes. But maybe my conclusion is that I should prioritize this dynamic stuff.
I don't know. I do something entirely different, so I can't speak particularly wisely about it.
Sorry about my coughing feet. has there been, or could there be any sort of real-world validation for this?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, because what you can do is, if you have your attack tree, if you have your attack tree, well, hopefully, the info in the leaves, you have obtained them from monitoring, but then you can see, suppose you have an AND gate, and this tells, if you know, let's say this happens 5 times per year, and this happens 7 times per year, and this, let's say this happens 5 times per year, then you can actually see if indeed this is the case. So you can compare, each of those nodes will give you a quantity, and then you can compare per gate whether indeed this was the case. And actually, so for attack trees, I haven't done that, but I've looked at similar models for fault trees, where you don't propagate malicious attacks, but rather you propagate accidental failures. Then we made several models for railroad elements, namely for railroad joints, and then a train compressor, and then we got, let's say, operational failure databases from ProRail, the Dutch railroad asset manager, and then we compared all the values we computed to their database, and they were quite in line. And maybe one funny story. So I presented those results in a conference, and then the audience said, "Well, what we find a bit weird is that your values seem to be quite far off, because what you predicted and what you measured didn't always match." But then I also presented the very same talk to people from industry, and then they said, well, we're a bit worried because the values you computed are so perfectly in line with what you predicted.
You could use like a honeypot or something like that to test. A honeypot, like a machine, semi-vulnerable machine hooks up, and then predict its attack tree, and then see if it conforms to your predictions. That'd be one way to test it.
The whole thing is, it's not sort of formal proof, right? So you can't validate it. All you can do is
validation. I meant
here's my initial data, right? And this seems to work, over this time window. But that's a dynamic system, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you might get a whole other class of people who are more sophisticated because we learn more about these things.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a constantly changing knowledge base. And you're just doing the best you possibly can.
Security is a really big target.
Just still work on a honeypot, right?
It's another example. So you gain extra evidence that supports your mechanisms.
Well, you identify the main ways in which it could be hacked and the timescales, and if it was hacked in a completely different way with different timescales, your model's clearly.
I can't imagine security people are, watching other people, hacking.
Well, that'd be the point.
Sorry.
Using the honeypot to
I'm
test
sure
it,
they
right?
are all the time.
Some security people hire attack.
Penetration testing,
That'd be a little bit
Sure.
No, work for them. Like
Yeah.
this, what's called the Catch Me If You Can.
Sure.
Or pen testing, the university calls it. I'll go into it later.
My pen seems to work fine.
No, the university
I was kidding.
has an MSc in pen testing because they didn't want to use the word penetration.
And that's
And they
The
didn't want to
university
use
official,
They wouldn't want to use the word hacking. It was hacking as well.
hacking is
So I'm sorry, Middlesex University has an MSc in penetration
in something security and pen
testing.
testing.
And is that in our department? Is it actually running?
But I
It's
think
running, I don't
So
know.
it's
But
in
our
our
school.
is it
I
Ian's
think
thing?
that's a standard term as well.
Is it
It's
Ian's
just
thing?
Middlesex
Yeah.
saying that. Yeah.
Before we get into is there any more questions, or shall we? Sort of
But this is totally up, right? So if we have an MSc in what you're doing, and the
Well-
person who's doing that isn't here, we should hook you up.
Okay.
Yeah, is it Ian's degree?
I
Ian
don't
Mitchell?
No, it's Marty.
Mahdi. So it's in our department. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So have Mahdi send her an email, because you guys should chat.
Oh,
right?
yes,
It's,
he's
Yeah, I'm
probably the
teaching
problem.
What's Xiao-
programming as well.
Xiao Chen's in charge.
He's probably exactly.
Yeah, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Excellent. And how many guys you got?
Around 18.
18. So viable.
Awesome
Awesome.
start.
Good news. We have a viable MSc in your area.
Oh, great. That's,
When you're done at Oxford, you were looking for a position.
Yes. Or The people you educate could be PhD students in our department. So you should do a good job.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
So okay, I have some. At least some years ago, we used to bring some
Yes,
sweets.
well, some
right?
years
And,
ago I used to bring
I
it.
thought,
Yes.
Sweets are always welcome.
I thought I'll
Rule of
restart the
thumb. Yes,
tradition
yes,
and.
I think we need to.
Yeah, let's.
And thank you for running it this year. Yeah, well
Well,
done.